Right, we have some huge breaking news.
Rasmus Hojlund.
Rasmus Hojlund.
It's Rasmus Hojlund!
86 days. That's how many days it's been since Rasmus Hojlund last scored a goal. After signing for a whopping £70 million, he has been labelled as the biggest flop in Manchester United history. So what's happened? Well, to answer that, we have to go back to the 29th of July 2023. United were in desperate need of a striker after Ronaldo's departure 6 months prior. The club needed a number 9. During this time, Hojlund was performing well at Atalanta. He had key attributes like quick pace, agile movement, strong work rate, and ability to hold off the ball and get it into the right position at the right time. These were all attributes needed in a high potential number 9. United saw this and decided to sign him for an initial £64 million. They saw Rasmus as the key to their struggling number 9 problem. Over the years, every time they had a good striker, like Cavani, Zlatan and Van Persie, it would only last for a season or two due to their older age. Hojlund, being 21 years of age at the time, made United think of him as a long-term solution instead of a quick fix like usual. Hojlund made his debut coming on against Arsenal in the league. Despite the 3-1 loss, he had a positive debut with much more to come. Despite the slow start in the league, he kicked off his Champions League campaign with a bang. In the limited time he had in the competition due to a certain person, he still managed to score 5 goals in 3 games. Pretty good, right? Well, that was nothing compared to what was about to happen. On the 26th of December 2023, Hojlund started in a league game against Aston Villa, a game that would go on to change his life forever. You see, Hojlund was still without a league goal, and after going 2-0 down to Villa, it looked like an impossible job.
Fernandes striding clear. Rashford, great ball across, must be. Fernandes, low ball in. Where's it going to go? Nacho?
All United needed now was a winner. And what better man to do it than Rasmus Hojlund? This goal helped United to come back, and for Rasmus, it was only just the beginning. Goal and assist against Spurs, goal against Newport, goal and an assist against Wolves, goal against West Ham, goal against Villa, brace against Luton, back to back to back to back to back. 6 in a row. Broke a number of records and won Premier League Player of the Month for February. He ended the 23-24 season with 16 goals, including a vital performance to help United win the FA Cup. His head was held high. The general verdict was that it was a fairly successful debut season. He was young, he was raw, and he still had a lot to learn and thrive from. However, something strange happened. All those attributes and positives he had began to fade. The 24-25 season kicked off with Rasmus sustaining a hamstring injury which ruled him out for the first month of the season. He returned to the starting lineup with a goal against Porto. However, there was a change that was evident. A change that nobody could figure out, yet it would go on to ruin his career forever. His performances took a sudden slump, along with a few other players, and with that came poor results. On the 12th of December 2024, he scored a brace in what would be his last goal in over 12 weeks, bringing us up to the present day. So how? How has this happened? Everywhere I look, I see people criticising Hojlund, yet there's not a single answer to why. After months upon months of researching, I've narrowed it down to 3 distinct reasons, plus a hidden reason at the end, so make sure you wait to find out that. One of the most mainstream defences to Hojlund's poor performances is his lack of service. See, for a number 9 to function, he needs to receive the ball, right? And last season, he had one of the lowest balls received per 90 compared to any other big striker. You see, options like Garnacho tend to hold onto the ball instead of pass it to Hojlund. This was also seen with the likes of Antony, Sancho, and even sometimes Bruno, Xerxes, Diallo and more. Rashford was pretty much the only player that was able to find Hojlund the pass. However, with him now at Villa, there's pretty much no one to pass to him. Now from the outside that seems fair enough, but looking deeper we can now ask the question, well, why don't they pass to him? And that brings us on to reason 2. The fact he runs like a train. Hojlund's biggest liability is his positioning. He can't find the end of a pass. Part of the reason that the players don't pass to him is because he loses the ball anyway. On average, he has 1.08 shots per 90 minutes. For perspective, Harry Maguire averages 1.12 shots per 90 minutes. He's a centre back. In fact, if you look at all of Hojlund's stats, each one of them is woeful. Chances created per 90, 0.07. Just so you can understand how mind-boggling that stat is. When Chido Obi came on for 30 minutes against Fulham, he created the same amount of chances that Hojlund has created in the last 3 months. So many brilliant attributes that I have back in the Serie A just seem to have disappeared since joining United. This brings me on to my next and most realistic point, and that is Manchester United being Manchester United. Let me ask you this. Out of the last 10 years or so, how many players have joined United and actually have managed to succeed at United? Leave your answers down below. Chances are you can probably only think of 2 to 3 players max. When joining United, you're met with a very toxic fan base, full of idiots hyping young players up to be really high class players. Like seriously, who would do that? Former manager Erik ten Hag said in a recent interview how he wasn't able to criticise the players well enough, and instead of learning from it, they would take it personally and it would greatly affect their performances. And I think that is what happened to Hojlund in this situation. When I asked you whether you still believe in Hojlund or not, it was fairly split down the middle, with 53% saying yes, he is still young, he still has time, and with the other 47% saying no, he cannot succeed at United.
It's time to go!
But what if I told you, after all of this, Hojlund still has a chance? You see, his time isn't up yet. There's still one thing that separates him from every other striker in the world right now, and that thing can be found